DC, what's going on, sir?
I'm great, baby. How about yourself, man? What's happening with you?
Man, I'm blessed. I see you got the cardiac Cuse hoodie on. You know what I mean? Baby? That's how it be right around these days, huh?
hey, E, man. I mean, that's just the way I'm feeling right now, bro. You know, our season and everything keeps my chest banging like I'm about to have a heart attack or something. So when you said I was coming on with you today, I'm like, yo, let me dig in this closet and pull out this cardiac Cuse, man.
No, I feel you. I mean, we could jump right into it and talk about the Cuse, but first, I want to talk about some of the other stuff that you have going on. You know, like I'm always someone who likes to show the parts that people aren't talking about enough. Let's start off with some of the stuff that you have going on. You know, one of the things I like to do is show the parts that aren't really, shown and advertised a whole lot. And you do so much good stuff and you have so many good thoughts. And I want to start with that before we get to all the stuff with the Cuse. But, I saw, let me start off with this. I saw that
I look dark as hell for some reason. I don't know if it's a light in here.
You're not feeling it? You look a little darker. I mean, it's all good. I thought you've been tanning or something. I thought you've been tanning or something. You've been on the beach or something.
Like I've been tanning or something, bro.
I've been seeing you in the pictures with Belle Biv DeVoe and them and kicking it on the beach on the sand. I thought that's just where you've been.
Hey, man, I wish I was there right now. Actually, though, I'm leaving tomorrow. I'm actually going to the Mardi Gras.
Oh, you going to Mardi Gras down in New Orleans?
Yeah, see, there you go. Everybody thinks the Mardi Gras started in New Orleans. The Mardi Gras originated in Mobile, Alabama, which is where I'm from.
Oh, talk to me about it, because I didn't know that.
Yeah. Before the Louisiana Purchase, actually, Mobile was the capital of New Orleans at that time. Because it was New Orleans, Alabama, Mississippi, all those southern states, but Mobile was the capital. So the Mardi Gras really originated in Mobile, and then they moved it, to New Orleans as well. But I always go to the Mardi Gras in Mobile. Even as a kid growing up in Mobile, Alabama, I used to go to the Mardi Gras as a kid, so it's something that I've always tried to attend, see my family, see my friends, that I grew up with. So I'm going to leave tomorrow, go down there for a few days.
That's what's up. A lot of people still don't even know that you're from Alabama. Everybody associates you with Detroit. You know what I mean? Man. But you grew up, you was born and raised in Alabama.
Born and raised in Alabama. My mom always lived in Detroit, came up for better jobs. So I was really raised by my grandmother.
Okay.
Every summer I would come, to Detroit and hang out. And then it was time for me to go back to school. My grandmother would always be like, hey, send my baby back home. And then when I got 13, years old, I actually moved, to Detroit. And, my first love has always been baseball and football. Basketball really was my third sport.
Is that right?
Yeah. I grew up playing baseball and football because my grandmother loved, the Dodgers. She loved Jackie Robinson. So I grew up playing baseball, football my whole life.
Is that right? So first, and I don't even know if I've even heard you tell this story. So how did you get from Detroit to Syracuse? Like, where were the other places where you were possibly going if you didn't go to Syracuse?
To go everywhere.
No. But where did you want to go? I'm sure you was free to go everywhere, but where would you want to go?
I probably I got to Syracuse because of Dave Bing. So, when I met Dave, my high school coach knew him and he introduced me to him, because, again, at the time, I was having problems even finding shoes. If I'm 13, I'm wearing a 13. 14, I'm wearing a 14.
Right.
So my high school coach and Dave were friends and he introduced me to him. And in the summertime, Dave started actually sending me to camp in Syracuse. So I used to come to basketball camp in Syracuse when I was like 14, years old, all the way up until I was 17 every summer. So that experience for me getting out of the city and being able to go, to Syracuse and I was just so familiar with it. Probably I would have went to school. I probably would have went to Michigan State because Vernon Carr at the time, who was from Detroit, went to Michigan State. Scott Skiles was there at the time as well, but I'm a year older than Steve Smith. And if Steve would have told me that he was going to Michigan State, but see, Steve was a late bloomer, and if I would have known if he was going to Michigan State, I probably would have went to Michigan State a year before him. So
Is that right?
because me and him grew up playing together all the time. Yeah.
Huh. That's interesting. I didn't know that. So when you got on to Syracuse, you came to Syracuse, you kind of hit the ground running. You have a special experience. So you and Coach Boeheim have a different relationship than a lot of the other guys have. I'm sure. I know you've heard us all say that. You know what I mean? Y'all have a different. Explain to me how everybody how your relationship with Coach Boeheim kind of grew over the years.
Well, I would say, in his book, he called me an enigma.
yeah, I saw that.
You know what I'm saying? Because it's like he's always trying to figure me out. He's just like, I can't figure this guy out. But in the beginning, me and Coach relationship, I would say that I always challenged him, but I always asked the question, why?
Okay.
All the time. And like we would come in the timeouts and, we'd be, hey, we're going to go in the zone and all. And I'm like, nah, Coach, we ain't going in the zone. We finna play man.
Right.
Everybody get somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, I wouldn't say we argued a lot. We just voiced our opinions. And I always felt that, I had an opinion, about the game of basketball as well. When I first got there, though, my freshman season, he used to scream and holler all the time. And I used to wonder why, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, I used to be like, why are you screaming and hollering at me all the time? You know what I'm saying? But, I understood it later on because, a lot of people can't take that.
Yeah.
Criticism.
Uh-huh.
I come from, my high school coach was that way. So that never really, bothered me or whatever. But if he screamed and yelled at Ronnie like that, Ronnie would go into a shell.
Right.
So we come in the timeout, and he'd be going, Derrick, you ain't doing this, you ain't doing that. And I'm just sitting there looking at him like, what the fuck are you talking about? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But when I got ready to get up and walk to go back in the game, he was always grab me. You know what I'm saying? Hey, tell Ronnie to come and, help you rebound. Tell Ronnie to get over, and block the shot or something. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understood that,
See, it's interesting because when I was there, I was one of the people that I didn't like him screaming. So we would butt heads a little bit. And I was just like, look, you want me to do something, just tell me. You ain't got to do all the screaming and carrying on. Just tell me what you want me to do.
Just tell me what it is.
And it would throw him because I would come at him so, calm. I'm like, look, just tell me what you want. You ain't got to do all that. Yeah. He was like, he'd be like, kind of tilt his head a little bit. Like, I'm not really used to anybody, because sometimes guys get mad and they scream back. But I was just like, just tell me what you want. You ain't got to do all that. All that's not going to work with me.
I used to get both versions of it, just a matter of depending on what mode I was in,
Yeah.
He could scream and holler and cuss at me. I scream and holler and cuss right back at him.
Right.
Oh, if I was 20 years younger, I'd come out there, well, bring your ass on out again, coach. Ain't talking that shit. Come on.
Right.
Yeah.
That's funny. That's funny.
Great relationship, man. I mean, I really just think over the years, again, we're kids.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're not really understanding. And I've had this conversation, with him a bunch of times. Like, now I get it, coach. I understand what you were talking about and what you were saying, because, again, we starting to grow and become men ourselves. So I understood it better as I grow. And I always tell the story that I think the more that I was away from him, the more I really understood, what he was talking about, what he was doing. Yeah.
It was interesting because I interviewed him and Buddy, I think it was 2 years ago. And he said something that I'd never heard him say before to me. He said, I learned from, he was saying he learned from me how sometimes he has to coach people differently.
Oh, yeah.
And he was like, and he tried to coach one way for everybody. He was like, but with me, it wasn't working. It wasn't. I was like, and I had them moments where I was like, all right, now you got one more time to, you know what I mean? And so he was like, he had to figure out different ways of, communicating in a way that it would be effective. And I thought that was interesting because I didn't know that he processed it like that.
Well, you have to evolve. And you got to understand too, you're dealing with probably 15 different personalities, on the basketball court. So you got to, well, you just can't coach one way. Cause look, Sherm wasn't trying to hear that shit. Billy wasn't trying to hear that shit. I wasn't trying to. The only person who was really listening to what coach was saying 24/7, Stevie Thompson.
Yeah, I heard that.
And see, he never yelled at Stevie. He never yelled at Stevie. So one day we were in practice. I'm like, Coach, man, you never yell at Stevie. He's like, yeah, because Stevie does everything that I tell him to do. Like the rest of you motherfuckers, no.
That's funny. That's funny. So I want to talk about one of the things I saw a little while ago on Twitter, and you were talking about what you wanted to do with NIL rights and what you wanted to create. And I thought that was great. So talk to me a little bit about that.
Yes. So, with this whole NIL and everything that's going on with these universities is just, for me, I feel that we have to control the narrative and what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I've had the conversation, with Syracuse about getting our license, which I have my own licenses already with the university. But I want to create an atmosphere just for us, you know what I'm saying? Because I feel that who's better to tell the story than the people who participate and play there. And people have been benefiting off of that their whole life. They're still benefiting off of it right now. Like, I'm in conversations with, retro jerseys, I think it is right now, because here it is. You guys are still marketing and selling my jersey, and I don't get a cut.
Yeah.
I'm not getting a check out of that. So I've been having conversations with them like, hey, well, we need to send you a cease and desist letter and let us be the people who do that. So my intentions really is, Etan, to be able to partner with SU and let my company do all the jerseys, which is ProSource. Let us do all the jerseys and stuff like that, but also create a website just for us. So if I got a website and you got your jersey, Ronnie's jersey, Sherman, all the guys that played at SU. And the great thing about it is, though, being able to autograph those jerseys for those people. So like coming to Syracuse, doing a pop-ups like the Duke game. Imagine the Duke game and we had all this stuff together that we would just go do a pop-up. All of us going to come up for the game anyway. But you're going to do a pop-up so you can come into this store and buy Etan's jersey, a Lawrence's jersey, a Billy's on. And you know what? Hey, man, I'm going to autograph that jersey for you right here on the spot. So I'm just looking at that way again, being creative and being able to take the narrative away from everybody else. I love the partnership that I have with Syracuse University. I think it's going to grow. But being able to take that away from Manny and Shirt World and all these other stores that's on Marshall Street.
Right.
I mean, my vision really is to open up our own store.
That'd be great.
You know what I'm saying? Authentic. Everything that you're going to get is going to be authentic from us. Or right now, like, again, I'm working on creating this whole online store where I was just over my mom's house the other day and I posted, because everything I ever got, I always just give it to my mother. You go to your mother's house, just
everything,
stuff everywhere.
Right.
So I'm in her basement, I see the Dream Team 2 basketball. So I just took a picture, and posted it. But I'm sitting there, right, and I'm like, I have so much memorabilia down here in my mom's basement. I say, you know what? I'm going to create this website. And I'm going to auction off all of this memorabilia stuff that I have. And let the proceeds go to DC Elite, which I've been running for the past 18 years out here in Detroit with all the high school kids and, summer leagues. So raise money for that, or raise money for Team Michigan, which is my AAU team, which all of us grew up playing on here in Michigan. I mean, all the way back to Magic. So raise money for them so when they want to go travel and do everything. But I'm sitting there looking at that stuff, right? And I'm just like, well, I know when I'm gone, my kid's just going to put this in storage.
Right. They'll hang one thing up or maybe a few things up, but then the rest will all go in storage.
It's stored somewhere. And I'm like, you know what? Because I saw Kareem do it. And I was like, why is Kareem, all this stuff? But I'm sitting here like, I don't even know if Kareem even have kids.
Right. No, he got kids. Yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I hear what you're saying.
Yeah, I'm just like, yo, let me just auction this stuff. I'll raise some money for, one of these foundations and give it away to, because he knows himself like,
right.
When I'm gone, I ain't gonna tell him what his stuff is going to be.
So are you getting much pushback from like Manny's and the people who've had a kind of monopoly on everything?
I haven't even took the time out to have the only conversation I really had is with the guys at Retro Jerseys.
Okay.
That's the only conversation, and the pushback that I'm getting for them, like, well, you know, the name, images, likeness is for the kids that are at school, you know what I'm saying, right now. And I'm like,
oh, so it doesn't apply to anybody else?
Well,
that's what
no,
they're saying?
I'm like, I ain't heard that.
No, that's not true. That's not true.
Prove me wrong. But again, you're selling my jersey. I don't care if you don't have my name on the back of it.
Right.
It's 44.
Yeah.
And by the way, that number's retired.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So ain't nobody else wearing it.
Ain't nobody else gonna ever wear that number again up there.
Right.
But again, being able to create the partnership just for us, man, to control the narrative, you know. And like I say, my vision really is for us to start doing special events, you know, big games up there on campus, and just to show people in the city of Syracuse, you know, how much we love and appreciate them. Because they ask, Derrick, you know, you come back so much. I say, yeah, I come back because they don't understand, that when we're playing, our time is very limited.
That's right.
You know, and I do that with kids now, you know, because you talking about being a student athlete, and a lot of our kids don't really understand what that means. You're talking about classes from 7 o'clock in the morning to probably 2:30, 3 o'clock. Then you got practice from, you know, 3:30, 4 o'clock to whenever coach say, okay, well, I know now they got all these restrictions now, you know.
Right.
Yeah, but okay, we get out of practice 6, training table an hour, you know what I'm saying? Then study table 2 hours. So every night, each time we getting home probably about 8:30, 9 o'clock.
Yeah, exhausted. And
you're still trying to have some type of social life.
Right.
You know, on campus. Yeah. So I think we don't do a good job of explaining that and even putting that in our school systems right now. That's one of the things before COVID hit. I was looking at doing here in Detroit, just like doing a pilot with 1 or 2 schools, just to really explain to them and show those kids, like, hey, you say you want to be a student athlete? This is what it takes.
Right.
You know what I'm
prepare
saying?
them early.
You pretty much got half of it because you're at school and then you're practicing, you know. So it's just like, okay, can we get tutors to stay here and tutor these kids and then provide some type of food service, you know what I'm saying, for them to get something to eat, and also eat time to take some food home. That is a huge problem in Detroit right now. Food deserts. Yes, you know what I'm saying? But okay, we got hot food for you to take, bro, but you know what? We're going to fill your backpack up so you can take some more food home, because I know you got brothers and sisters at home as well. Right.
No, that's great, man. That's amazing work. And I also saw a few of the initiatives that you're doing to try to get, you know, since Syracuse was almost like a small HBCU at one time. The numbers are dwindling each time period. You know, it was more when y'all were there, but it was a little less when we were there, then a little less when, you know, Q and them were there.
But look, though, that's the psych job they did on us.
Yeah.
Because, and again, one thing that I love about Coach, right? Every time that I'm there, he gives me the floor. Practice, locker room, before games, after games, wherever I walk in there, hey man, Derrick's here. You know, and Derrick gonna speak. I'm gonna walk outside. You know. But I tease him about that because I said, man, y'all good. He's like, what do you mean, Derrick? I
heard you talk about
because
this.
It's a setup. I came up on my visit, right, E?
Yeah.
It's Minority Spring Weekend.
Yeah, he does it on purpose.
You know what I'm saying?
He does it on purpose.
Everywhere I go, I'm seeing us.
All
the parties, all the meetings that we going to. So I'm like, well, okay, I'm feeling this, right? I get to school.
You're like, where everybody go? Where all the people that I saw on my recruiting trip go?
Yeah, besides my teammates, I probably see the brother area. Hey man, hold up, what's your name, bro? Come here.
We looking like
practice with me.
We looking like Get Out. We see somebody. We see another black person. Hey, where you? But the numbers have dwindled, and you've been trying to figure out a way to be able to get the numbers a little bit better. So talk to me a little bit about that aspect as well, because I know that's been something that you've been meeting with people
and trying to get the numbers, and as well, the tuition is still going up.
Yeah.
So even that situation, right? Even if we set money aside for all this memorabilia, whatever stuff that we're marketing and selling for CBT, right? For kids who actually want to go and attend Syracuse, who actually even got accepted, but they don't have the financial responsibility to get into school. So I think that's what CBT has done a great job in, what we've been working on as far as doing the basketball games and stuff like that, to help raise money and bring awareness to it. It's so crazy that I was actually on the phone with the president of the MEAC conference.
Okay.
So we're looking at, we've partnered with the MEAC now to student exchange games and all that stuff with Syracuse.
Okay.
So I was talking with the president, and I was explaining to her about what we do at CBT. And she was like, Derrick, we don't even do stuff like that with all the HBCUs.
Right.
So I'm like, well, here's an opportunity that, we can show you guys how do we, do this. We raise money for students and board, tuition, or whatever have you to attend, Syracuse. And how do we get those numbers up? You got to understand, man, that the sacrifice parents have made for their kids to attend Syracuse universities. I mean, taking mortgages out on their homes to try to better their kids' education. And I've always felt that that's been great, but we've done a terrible job at hiring our own.
Okay.
Like my one of my best friends who passed away from COVID, Doug Grant. So Doug Grant was a finance major at Syracuse from the Bronx.
Okay.
His mom and dad and took mortgages out on their house and sent him to school. So he graduates with a finance degree and goes into the industry. He's always a low man on the totem pole to get fired. Every time he get a job, he got a new job. So now he has to settle for, before he passed, he was doing like pharmaceuticals.
Oh, I see.
Now here you are, you got a finance degree.
Right.
And you're just selling to do pharmaceuticals to make ends meet. So I think we have to do a better job at that with our network and, communicating and connecting each other to help each other out.
I definitely agree. And, just to tell everybody who's not familiar, CBT he was referring to is coming back together, something that Syracuse does, every 3 years. I kind of think we should do it every other year. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's been some conversations about that.
I think we should.
Because, we losing somebody every year, every 2 years. We lost so many friends these past 2 years.
With COVID.
With COVID and everything. I was actually on the phone with some of my classmates, and we were talking about like the DC picnic.
Right.
Every year. So we were talking about doing something like that in like New York or New Jersey or somewhere. You know what I'm saying? Because there's so many people from that area, Jersey, Connecticut, New York City. But yeah, I agree with you. Every other year, or doing something in the summertime where all of us can just come out and hang out and participate, man. Because it's just a great vibe, man.
Oh, it's amazing.
Man, so much fun, just seeing everybody, communicate, all the events and everything. The parties are great. But really, man,
no, it's great.
Just sitting in the hotel, in the bar, drinking, laughing,
talking to people.
It's great. It's nothing like it, man.
Yeah.
And the biggest thing though, none of these other universities do that, fam.
They don't do. Yeah, I thought that was something that they all did.
Do what?
Right. That's how people react.
That's what we do.
Yeah. So shout out to Miko Horn. Miko Horn does a great job, with stuff that she's doing with and all the different people. Rachel. Yep. So definitely shout out to them.
Yeah.
So I think that's amazing. I think there's a lot that also, people don't understand the way that you care about the community, about uplifting our people. Yes. They know a certain side of DC, and that's the only side they know. Like let's keep
it that way.
No, they gotta know something, because like we've had these great conversations. You see, I got a picture of Malcolm X over here in my background,
Come on, man.
and we've talked about the influence that Malcolm had on your life growing. And we just passed the anniversary of 57. Him being assassinated. Yeah, 57 years, which is amazing to me.
Amazing.
I mean, because we were really like we needed him. Like what he did for us as a whole. You know what I mean? And, you know, uplifting our spirits, giving us the ability to be able to navigate through this system, which was set up for us to fail. Like set up for us to fail.
It's designed that way. Everybody keeps talking about we got to change the system. You can't change a system that's designed for us to fail. You know, I was just having that conversation with my mother the other day when I was around her house, and my mom is the first one to give me the autobiography of Malcolm X. You know, and I don't think she literally handed it and put it in my hand. I think she actually left it on my bed. You know. Okay. And it was just life changing. I probably was maybe 15. You know, because you got to think again. I'm coming from Mobile, Alabama. So you can't really sit here and tell me about racism, you know what I'm saying? Because I'm telling you what I experienced myself growing up in Mobile. I'm not telling you stories. I'm telling you what used to happen to me growing up in Mobile. Like I said, I grew up playing baseball and football. And, you know, first our practice facility used to be, you know, right across the street from my house. You know, at this high school. Then they moved it up to a place called, you know, Alabama Village. They had just built it. But it was in a white neighborhood. So, you know, so we would all walk up there. Everybody from my neighborhood, we walk, you know, go to practice and stuff. But every night we coming home, bro, they sicking their dogs on us. They chasing us home the whole night, you know. Wow. Yeah, man. You know what I'm saying? I remember being a kid, being in the library, you know, last day of school and stuff like that. And they locking us in the library, let all the white kids go home. Wow. You know, so I experienced racism, you know what I'm saying, myself personally, you know, so. Wow. With Malcolm, that's why he's not here with us now. Because, like you said, of the uplifting that he was doing. Not only him. Think about Malcolm X. How important Sam Cooke was. You know, and Muhammad Ali. Think about that. Just think about those three. Not even including Jim. Right. You know what I'm saying? Just think about those three. Here it is. Malcolm X is king to us right now, you know, in the 60s. Muhammad Ali is on his way, but also Sam Cooke has his own publishing company, business company, but he's pulling Muhammad Ali into that. Hey, man, come on, we're going to do music. We're going to make a song. You know what I'm saying? We're going to sell records. So those three, just that whole combination, it's scary. But when you looking at it, okay, you already got two guys who are going to be a Muslim. So with Sam Cooke on his way to becoming a Muslim, his producer and his partner had already was a Muslim. Right. Yeah. Right. And so you know, it's deep, man. You know, it's interesting in the movie, and I think they did a good job with it. One Night in Miami, but they showed his influence on Sam Cooke and how Sam Cooke was, you know, first, like he was like, you know, look, you're in these white facilities, these white, you know, places, and you have their ear and they love you, but you're not talking about nothing. And it was interesting because so for my new book, Police Brutality and White Supremacy: The Fight Against American Traditions, I interviewed Craig Hodges. So it was when I interviewed him, it was right after that movie came out, and I kept making the parallel between how he was looking at MJ and how Malcolm X was looking at Sam Cooke and saying, listen, you have all this power and you're not using it. Yes, you're not using it, and the frustration of it. And they showed and depicted, and it was a great parallel to make. But remember, at the end of the movie, when he went to the you know, the show and he sang his song, but then he's like, I have a new song that I haven't really released yet. This is my first time. And he sang it, and it was all amazing. The change is going to come. And a tear came through his eye, and how Malcolm was looking at him afterwards. So I asked Craig Hodges, I was like, so now years later, when you hear Michael Jordan making some of the statements that he makes,
talking about police brutality, or he donates to this, cause or something like that, something that he didn't do when you were there. Do you feel, I was making that kind of connection, and it was just amazing to see how the correlation, what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's
not, I already know Craig Hodges is not the same.
Oh yeah.
When you have that opportunity, that's why people don't give Kareem his just due.
Right.
See, people don't even understand that, Kareem being Kareem boycotted the '68 Olympics.
Yep, he didn't go.
Yeah, because of what he was seeing being done to his people.
Yep.
People don't even understand how powerful that was. And I tell people all the time, I said, if Kareem didn't boycott the Olympics, we probably would have never heard about Spencer Haywood.
That's a good point, because he would have got a chance.
Because Spencer, they picked him for the team, and he really dominated. They were, man, who was this kid?
Yep, he's right. That's right.
But they never want to give Kareem his flowers, man. But he was one of him and Bill Russell.
Yes.
Like those guys was ahead of their time, right there in the forefront, using their platform to enrich the lives of others and speaking up, for people at a time when it wasn't cool.
So it's interesting with and I want to ask you if you've experienced any of this. So, I interviewed both Bill Russell and Kareem from my previous book, We Matter, Athletes and Activism, where I'm all talking about, the importance of athletes activism and showing the past and everything. And so I was talking to Bill Russell, and I was talking to him about how, because he was winning championships in Boston. Like, he was dominating. And how everybody
still set his house on fire.
No, right, and I'm getting to that. And so they loved him, and they all this stuff until he started talking about racism and segregation and stuff like that. Then they changed on him.
Thank you.
And it's amazing. He was like, "Oh yeah, they definitely changed on me."
Yeah.
And he was like, and he talked about when they burned his house down and everything like that. And he was talking about what they did. They just vandalized it. And he said they went in there and they defecated on the sheets and then put the sheets over, it so you couldn't really see. So after he gets there, they clean everything up and they go into their room. They turn back and saw that. You know what I mean? Like it was, but have you experienced with some Syracuse fans that love you on the court, but until they hear you talk about something that they disagree with, and they're like, "Well, wait a minute now. Now I've experienced this. Now I've experienced like a lot."
Come from? Where Derrick had that?
Right.
I haven't. To be honest with you, I haven't really experienced that with none of the people in Syracuse. I think one time. I posted something on Facebook and somebody called me a racist and I started laughing. But with the people in Syracuse, I never have. I mean, I've had altercations up in Syracuse with one of the fraternities up there sitting at the red light.
That's right.
And,
I remember that.
Mother called me a nigga, you know what I'm saying?
Is that what happened? Is that what started the whole thing off with the fraternity?
Yeah. No, I mean, look, it was 2 or 3 different fraternities.
I remember the story about the one because they always talk about how you took off your shirt and it was in the snow.
No, that was a football team.
Okay, that was a football team. Right. You know what I'm talking about? They're like, DC took off the shirt and it was snowing and he whooped everybody behind. And I'm like, that's a different story. Yeah, but it's interesting.
Hey, man, look. One thing with me, I ain't gonna never start that, bro.
I hear you, but you finish it.
Yeah, I'm gonna finish it.
I feel you.
I'm gonna finish it, and I ain't gonna stop till I feel like stopping.
Right.
So that was a whole nother is with the football team. But Coach Mack, rest his soul, he was mad at me. I beat up his football players, you know what I'm saying? But you laughing. That's how Coach Boeheim was laughing.
Yeah, I heard that too. I heard that too.
Yeah, dying laughing. Too. Like, wait a minute. You talking about my guy? You beat up 6 of your guys?
Beat up six people at once? Like, that's what happened?
By myself?
Well, what's wrong with your football team? You know what I mean?
Get out of my office, man.
But
mind you, look, all of them on the depth chart.
Right.
I bench 400. I squat 600. Yeah. Knock their ass out.
All of them, huh? But one thing I will say about a lot of the Syracuse fans that I do have that, but then once they have conversations with me, because a lot of times some people, they hear one thing and they're immediately turned off until they can really get a real understanding of it. And they're like, okay, I see how you got there. There's 2 different,
always.
And that's what it, going back up to, it's interesting because I went up there and spoke at the chapel. I was in the chapel, filled with people. You know what I mean? And Coach Boeheim actually introduced me. He's like, "Oh, yeah, I would love to introduce me. I'm talking about racism, police brutality, all these different things, and all these different fans are, you can see their faces at first. They're like this, but then they're listening and they're like, oh, okay, it's a whole different world for you besides the world that we know, which is just on the basketball court."
Well, for one, we're Black.
Yeah.
So it's always been a whole different world. And I think that's always been the problem, because nobody wants to address the elephant in the room.
Mm-hmm.
You got to talk about what's happening, what's going on, to understand both sides of the equation.
Exactly.
And it's just crazy for me that we're still having those conversations with our sons and daughters and kids. I tell my kids that all the time. Even the kids that play on my team, hey man, when you walk out this gym, well, nobody care nothing about you, bro. Y'all got to understand that. You got to walk a certain way. You know what I'm saying? Don't be walking on, hey man, take that hoodie off, man. You know what I'm saying? Let somebody see who you are. And we walking up the street with no hoodies on.
It's different rules for us. It's different rules. And we have to teach so that's like when you hear people talk about the talk. Like we have to have, and even in coaching, you're having to talk with the players that you know what I mean? So they hear it from you, and then they hear it again at home. And just in case they're not hearing it, you have to understand when you're stopped by the police, you have to do things differently. No sudden movements. You can't just rush to go get your wallet because he said, let me see your license. You have to stop and say, okay, I am going into my back pocket to get my license that you just asked me for. Is that okay?
Exactly.
And then you got to slowly go and get it. You know what I mean? But those are things that
they will never understand.
They can't understand it because it's not their world.
I tell my son that to this day. Like, hey man, police pull you over, FaceTime me. Yeah. And put the phone so I can see what's going on, man. And let me know where you at, because you know what? I'm on my way. Right. And that's that's the world that we live in.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of having a father, because at CBT years back, I did a fatherhood panel with one of my other previous books, Fatherhood, and you spoke in there, and you opened up. I got so much feedback from Syracuse fans about your interview in particular, because you said a lot that you didn't really say, publicly. Nobody really heard you talk about fatherhood. Nobody heard. They're like, oh. But they only knew you on the court. That's the only way they know you.
That's the thing. You only know that side, you know what I'm saying, when you see me playing a game of basketball. And I mean, all of us, we're so much more. Right. Basketball only is a small part of who we are as people, as human beings, That's right. So you're going to always try to judge me about the game of basketball. Well, I have an opinion about everything. Like, I used to sit on panels even at school, because the regular students at school thought that we were privileged. Right. Because we had a scholarship, and hey man, my mom and my dad had to take this, mortgage out on their house, and you guys are running around here. And I'm like, hey man, welcome to my world. Let me just come on, you want to spend a day with me? You going to class at 12 o'clock. You taking one class a week. Right. You know what I'm saying? Right. It was funny. Best life. So I was speaking at Syracuse, and one of the people, I've gone there a couple of times, speaking with my books and stuff like that. Yeah. And so one of the guys, and I love when having interaction. So I love interaction. Me too. Even when you disagree with me, we have back and forth. So right. So one person was talking about, sometimes white people get kind of offended, kind of, they have a certain reaction to the term white privilege. Yeah. And then so they said, well, you athletes had a lot of privilege. Like, you were treated like this and you were treated like that. And I was like, well, let me explain something to you. On the court, but off the court, you know what I mean, is different. So I was like, listen, let me tell you what happened to me at Syracuse. It was my junior year. I'm driving. You know that street right in front of Manley Fieldhouse where the graveyard is? Comstock. Yeah. I'm driving down Comstock, at night one time. The police pull me over, right? Take me out of the car and have me sitting in the snow, right? And because they didn't think that I owned my car. They didn't think that I was like, wait, my father bought me this. They're like, well, why do you have Connecticut plates on it? Because he lives in Connecticut. What do you mean? Right. You know what I mean? Well, is this your car? And so going through all that stuff,
nonstop. I was like, well, has that ever happened to you while you were driving? When y'all are drunk on Erie and doing all that different stuff on Marshall Street and all that? Has that ever happened to you? And he's like, I never knew that, but they don't know because it's not their world.
Yeah, but you only seeing us on the basketball court.
That's it.
I mean, there's numerous times I've been out bars. I used to go to Sutter's all the time.
I know Sutter's.
You know what I'm saying? And again, I would sit at the end of the bar by myself. A couple of my friends. One time I was sitting there. I was actually talking to the owner of the bar.
Okay.
This girl walked by. She intoxicated, her and her boyfriend. Blah! She just smacks me in my hat upside the head.
Yeah.
And I'm just turning around like, what the?
And if you respond in any way, immediately the police are going to come there and snatch you up and grab you and everything. And Derrick Coleman, did all this with
what the hell, So it's the good, the bad, and the ugly, man.
But I love having those conversations when you see when you see the change, when they're like they thought one thing at first, but then as they're talking and communicating with you, you see their minds like open up to something that they had never seen or thought of before because they just didn't know.
Right.
And I love coming back to Syracuse. I'm gonna keep doing.
No, I do too, man.
You know what I mean?
Like you say, every time that I'm there, when I come up the hill and I see the top of that dome off 80, man, I just get chill bumps.
Right.
Because it's just it's a prominent time in all of our lives.
Yeah.
And I've explained that to people. They don't even understand really. Like when you talk about Syracuse, you talking about people coming to those games all the way from Toronto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
you're talking about all the way upstate going back into Massachusetts.
Yep.
It's all Syracuse.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And at the time when I was in school, Buffalo sucked. So we were that team.
Yeah. You're
Basketball.
Right. Yeah.
We was always top 5 my whole 4 years at school.
We didn't have that to say, but
Yeah, we were always going to a bowl game.
Right.
Our football team. And our lacrosse team was #1 my whole 4 years there.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
So the campus was crazy. It was no better place,
right?
You know what I'm saying, to be when you're talking about college. And I got 35,000 of my closest friends.
It's funny when I was in the league and I'm playing and I'm like, well, this is a smaller crowd than what I'm used to.
Right.
You know what I mean? What I'm used to.
Yeah.
Great.
And one of the biggest things too, that playing in the Big East.
Oh right? Man, don't even get me started on that. Listen. I still hate that we're in the ACC. I'm not letting it go. I'm not letting that go. When I was watching, I was watching Villanova play Seton Hall about a week or two ago. Yep. Right, because we text. Man, that was a great old school Big East game. You know what I mean? It was just a great game.
It was. So. But what it did also, though, think about that. We got the chance to play in all the greatest arenas as kids.
You
know what I'm saying? The Spectrum, the Boston Garden, Madison
Square Garden,
the Cap Center.
All that.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So we got the chance to play in all even in the Meadowlands. I got drafted by Jersey. So, I'm going in I'm like, oh man, I've been in this arena for 4 years of my life.
That was so special.
Seton Hall ain't never beat us.
That was supposed. I used to give Georgetown the business right in the MCI. It was the MCI Center. Now that you know what I mean, the Capital One, but it used to give Georgetown the business there. You know what I mean?
It's just great, to play in all the arenas and to be in the Big East Conference, man. I know we went to the ACC because of the football reasons, man. But I still hate it though.
I hate it though.
I miss it.
Let me get a few basketball questions in, and then I'm gonna let you go. You know what I mean? Because all right. So we're coming up. It was interesting. I was watching this thing. They was talking about Coach Boeheim, coming up on his, wins and stuff like that, and where he's gonna make that mark this season at some point. And I'm looking at it, and I'm just like, I have a lot of criticisms for Coach Boeheim, but on this topic here, with them not giving his wins back, it bothers it. Now listen, so when I'm saying this, when they see me and you sitting here talking about how they should give his wins back, the first thing they'll say, "Oh, well, they're biased.
Yeah,
Syracuse guys." Now listen.
Yeah,
I have no problems criticizing Coach Boeheim, and I can even tell, for one, I think it's crazy that he allowed Kadari Richmond to leave. You know what I mean? Have him starring for Seton Hall, and I think he should have been there. I think it's crazy how, you know, I don't like the way that he publicly criticizes players to the media. Yeah. I don't like that. You know what I mean? I don't like how certain players can do no wrong and other players can do no right. You know, so there's a lot of stuff that I can criticize him on. I even disagree when he said the mask mandate should be lowered because of the Duke game. I was like, what? You know, so there's a lot of things I disagree with Coach Boeheim on. Now, that being said, on this topic, they doing Coach Boeheim wrong. Like, I mean, because, and this is my issue, DC. I see what other colleges have done, what other universities have done, that are way more egregious than what they Coach Boeheim on.
And you know what, E? What they do, though, you know, is they keep recycling them.
Yeah, they get more jobs.
I'm going to give you a slap on the wrist.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know what? You can go to a small school. You know, some small schools pick them up, and then 2-3 years, boom, they're right back somewhere else. But
they be having bad stuff.
I know they do. I know they do, man. But you know, it's just some, you know, with us, man. I don't know if it's our swag or whatever have you. You know that they got a sore spot for us, you know, at Syracuse, man. But that doesn't make any sense. You know, and I remember having a conversation one time with Coach about that. I asked him, I'm like, Coach, so with these NCAA, why did they take your games? You know what I'm saying? Away? What does that have to do with anything? You know?
Right.
And he was like, Derrick, you know, it was basically a kid interviewing him about what was going on at Syracuse University. And he's like, Derrick, basically, it just pissed me off. I just got up and walked out, you know? Like, how dare you? Like, you know, even sit here, y'all got a kid in here, probably 30, 35 years old, trying to question me about, you know, basketball. But I mean, I've seen so many other people make, like you said, bigger mistakes.
Oh, huge.
And like you said, slap on the wrist.
Or nothing at all.
Man, you'll surface in 2 years somewhere else. You know, so somebody, you know, the NCAA, they don't like us, man. Maybe they all Georgetown alumni.
Right. I mean, I was looking at it. I'll be like, so if you want to make that point back then, you know what I mean, and say, okay, we're going to take away your wins, we're going to punish you this way, it's wrong what you did, yada 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 yada. Okay, fine, but by now you should have given his wins back. I mean,
without question.
Especially because of the things that other people if you're gonna make a rule like that, it has to be for everybody.
It's never going to be fair. You know, it's never fair. It's never fair. I mean, think about Rick Pitino.
Yeah, I won't go name no names, but go ahead. We can name them.
And let me just explain
what he was doing with the. Go ahead.
Yeah, I'll let you go. Well, that's beside the point. I don't even care about that point. I'm always concerned with how can you get mad at a coach, right? And because his assistant coaches are giving his kids money.
Oh, now that I had a problem
you know
with because it looked to me, and you tell me if I'm wrong on this, but it looked to me that they put the black assistant coaches out there and let them take the fall for everything, like the head coaches, and nobody else knew anything that was going on.
Well, the thing is just what you said. Those head coaches really don't have those relationships with those inner city kids.
But do you think they didn't have anything? It's like blue chips. You know, I don't know how that tractor got in front of your house. You know what I mean? Like so they might have not connected, but they knew.
They definitely know. You know what's going on. But again, nobody addresses the elephant in the room.
What's that?
You know where you recruit these kids from.
Yeah.
So why would you not want to help them? Hey, man, I'm from a single parent home myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So you know where I come from. You've been to my house. You came to recruit me.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So you mean to tell me if somebody's going to offer me something better, I'm not going to take? And the biggest problem that I have with it that people don't talk about or explain, I'm not even accepting the money for myself.
Right. It's always like for a family member or like for somebody else, for an uncle, for a dad. It's always something like that. Yeah.
Well, it's not even for me. I'm good.
Yeah.
I'm at school. I'm good. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
but the money is not even for me. And see, nobody talks about that.
Yeah.
You know, and then you want to, okay, we coach, you're fired, kids, you on probation, you know what I'm saying? And it's been going on forever.
And the thing about it is the NCAA now, they want to, everybody to pat them on the back because of the NIL deal for the name, images, likeness. And I was like, okay, that doesn't take anything away from y'all. Like that's, that's something that should have already happened.
That is a whole nother conversation that we need to have when you talk about that, because see, that's their way of throwing their hands up and saying that they've done something. You haven't done anything.
Nothing.
You have enough money to pay all the athletes.
Yeah.
So when you're looking at the whole NIL thing is, okay, you're still talking about the popular athletes that's going to make money. What about our water polo team? What about wrestling? What about field hockey? What about swimming? What about track and field? Like all these unpopular sports, what are those kids going to do? How are they going to make money? How are they going to benefit from that?
And it's interesting when you talk about like paying athletes. The first question is, well, what about the non-revenue generating sports? Like, well, how are they going to be paid? And my answer is that the same way that the non-revenue generating coaches are paid. Ain't none of them working for free. Y'all figure it out with the coaches. Y'all figure out with the equipment people, the TV people, the compliance people, all the different people. The only people not getting paid is the players.
Come on, man. Your contract alone is enough revenue to pay everybody.
Oh, definitely. You're making millions.
Thank you. And if our football team was good, shit, they can pay everybody.
That's true.
We're the glamour sport. Basketball is the glamour. Football is the money sport.
Right.
So if our football team was good and we were selling out that carrot on, hey man, there's enough money for everybody. It's the TV revenue and everything that's going on. So that's just their way of throwing up their hands and acting like they really done. Y'all haven't done anything.
Haven't done anything.
Nothing Definitely at all.
So let me ask you a question about the current team. Let's talk about that for a little bit. It's been a tough season. It's fair to say. It's been cardiac use. It's been a tough season.
Cardiac use, man.
And there's a lot of aspects of this that is troublesome. One of them is because I saw what happened with Kadari. I saw his demeanor. I was watching him on the bench, watching him sitting there not playing, then watching him when he played and he got in there and he did well, but there was no joy. There was no you know what I mean? He did what he did, went back emotionless, went back to the bench. You know what I mean? So I knew he was going to leave. That's why I kept saying he's going to leave. If we do not, I see the same thing with Benny Williams. And the thing about him, I'm from, he's from this area. You know what I mean? From PG County. I've seen him play. Like my son knows him. He's seen him. And he is someone who was a special talent. And now it's like it's the setup to where, I'm gonna play you sparingly here and then take you out, and that's why you're not ready. Or I'm not going to play you for 4 games and then put you in for 2 minutes after one mistake. I'm going to talk about that mistake, and then that's why you're not ready. And that's the part that I see the script before. I see it, and so he's saying all the right things now. He's staying at the practice after the game, shooting all that stuff, which is great because somebody's advising him very well. Most likely his father. You know what I mean? Is advising him what to do.
But that's not getting me into the game.
That's not.
Let me just say this, okay? Benny Williams is a top 30 prospect. Can you name anybody else on our team that's a top 30 prospect?
No.
Can you name anybody on our team the last 2-3 years been a top 30 prospect?
Right.
So how you got a top 30 prospect sitting on the bench?
Yeah.
When ain't nobody on our team is a top 30 prospect. That's sad.
Yeah.
But the thing that I don't like about it, because again, you're playing with kids' lives, their livelihood, and just what you just said. Here it is, no enthusiasm. No, you didn't suck the soul out of me that about the game of basketball, something that I love. It's not fun anymore.
Right.
Right. So when it's not fun, okay, I got to go somewhere where it's going to be fun for me again. And just like you say, I sit and every time Seton Hall play,
oh gosh,
I'm watching, I'm rooting for him.
He putting on a show too, every single time.
Because that doesn't make any sense for what's going on at our university. And you cannot do that.
Yeah, I agree.
You know, because you taking the life out of a kid, man. He's not having any fun and nothing that he's doing in the game of basketball. It's not supposed to be like that. You know, basketball is supposed to be fun, man. You know, like you said, you're not even having fun with your teammates.
Right. There's no joy.
You know, the demeanor is dry. Your smile is dry. You know what I'm saying?
You can tell.
You're not really engaged like the way you want. And then I'm constantly looking over my shoulder because any mistake, a lot of times it's me making the mistake.
Right.
But I'm coming out of the game and you yelling and cursing at me. I didn't make a mistake, coach.
Sometimes
it went from a 1-3-1,
right? From
a 2-3 to a 1-3-1, coach. Where we do that at?
Where we do that?
Come on, man. What are we doing?
If somebody throws me a bad pass and I don't catch it and it's my fault and I get snatched out and I get fussed at, and then you tell that's and it's interesting because you know I've been on the Free Jesse and rooting for Jesse for some years now, and I saw it with him, me and Roosevelt Bowie. We've been talking to him, stuff like that. And this was before he was in the same predicament that Benny was in, not getting no play. You saw the demeanor changing. Put him in for a minute, take him out. He's not ready. He's not there now. This year, you know what I mean. He did. It's amazing what you can do with time on the court, being allowed to play through mistakes.
Thank you.
You know what I mean, and then you gaining confidence. And then you're able to produce because everybody's like, well, Jesse all of a sudden learned how to play. Last year.
He just needs to get some rhythm out there on the court.
And that's the part where, as alumni, I was talking to Jesse all the time. You know what I mean? Like I was, lifting his spirits the same way that Roosevelt Bowie did with me when I was playing. You didn't go through none of that. You know what I'm saying? But you ain't know nothing about that. But me with having the freshman blues where you sit there and practice, looking at Bay, you looking at Bayham, you like, let him say one thing to me today, and this gonna be the day. This gonna be the day. Right before you don't know that feeling.
See, what you gotta understand with me, man. Right? Everybody have a rock on their shoulder. I got a brick.
I got you.
I got a brick on my shoulder.
Right.
I'm raised by strong women, man.
Okay.
I tell people that all the time, like, man, the strongest person in my life has been my grandmother.
Okay.
Period. So I'm raised not to take no shit. I'm raised to be, respectable and demand respect, regardless of what the situation is. You might not like me, not like what I say or whatever I do, but you know what? You're gonna respect me.
Right.
So I'm raised that way. And like I said, I used to go through my pitfalls, with coach. But again, confidence, man.
Yeah.
See, I will never let nobody take my confidence from me.
Who are the older players, the vets that came back and poured into you while you was at Syracuse?
Well, see, again, it started for me probably, being up there like playing in camp, and I used to always play with like Leo Routins and those guys.
Okay.
So they used to always be up there, and then seeing, Pearl, talking to Pearl, alive, seeing Gene Waldron, and Howard, So as a freshman, I'm just trying to feel my way through, everything. Like Derrick Brower, I probably spent more time with Derrick Brower. He was my ride. As a freshman, So he's my ride everywhere.
He's a character. He's so funny on Facebook. Man. He cracked me up.
He's a character, man. A great dude, but he is a character. But I spent a lot of times with him and Greg Monroe.
Okay.
Money actually gave me my nickname, Coast to Coast, because people always like, why they call you Coast? I said, yeah, because I used to rebound and take it coast to coast.
Coast to coast.
And Greg Monroe gave me that nickname.
That's
so it was always, great for me, but again, man, just confidence is everything.
Yeah.
And when, like you said, when I'm looking at those kids, and body language tells us everything.
Yeah.
So when I'm sitting there watching the games like we do, I see it. I see it in the kids, the way he looks, his whole body language. He's just like, man, I'm just here.
I'm just here.
Yeah, like I ain't
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
What is going on? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And again, I don't see nobody better than him.
And there you better believe there are other programs, especially around the DMV. I'm sure Maryland is on the horn. If they are smart, they're on the horn talking to his parents like, hey, you ain't gonna have to go through what you're going through there over here. Like I know it. If any coach would do that right now. So I'm a little bit. I don't know if I have the. I know he's saying all the right things. They keep asking him that in the media, everything like that. I don't have the confidence that he's going to be back next year.
Me either. And why would I though?
Yeah.
Why would I come back to go through, all this stuff that I've been through this year as a freshman? Like, what's really going to change, Coach? How are you going to convince me of what's going to change?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just unfortunate, but
it's very unfortunate, man. Because again, you playing with a kid's life, and he's really got a chance and an opportunity to go to the next level. And you're taking away, his confidence in the game of basketball. So now you see a kid out there, he's second guessing himself on everything.
He's not even playing like
that's what I'm saying.
Like I saw him playing in high school.
I've seen him play.
Yeah, no, he could go. He could go.
Everything.
Yes, everything.
Yeah. And I've seen him go. Like, okay,
that's what happens.
That kid he got it.
Right. And I will say I like, we had some bright spots. I liked how Samir Torrance played. I like how he runs the team. I like how he sets everybody up. Everybody knows Buddy can shoot. He sets them up. He, plays defense. So I want to see him play more. To be honest with you.
It's in and out.
It's in and out.
It's in and out.
But even when he's in and out, he's still productive. Like people don't understand how hard that is. They don't understand. Like they'll say, "Oh, well, he finally got a chance and he didn't do anything." And I can't stand reporters that say, "I'm like, you ain't even play basketball, bro. You don't know what you're talking about."
They don't understand that in any sport, it's always a rhythm.
A rhythm, yes.
And you got to catch that rhythm, man. And you can't catch that rhythm sitting there.
Right.
Like I remember coming back myself from injury. I hurt my knee one year, and I had to wear a sleeve.
All right.
And again, and this at the pro level, but I'm second guessing myself. Normally, I'm catching it, and every time I catch it, I'm scared to make the move. I'm like, is my knee gonna give out? My knee gonna... So we're in the middle of the game. I call a timeout. So Larry Brown is like, he throws his hands. I'm like, what's wrong? You know what I'm saying? So when I walk over to the bench, our trainer is sitting there. I said, man, cut this sleeve off my knee. He's like, no, Derrick, you got to wear the sleeve your knee. I said, man, cut it off. He was like, why? I said, because I'm second guessing myself.
Right.
And that's not who I am. I'm just used to catching and going, I'm playing basketball. Now I'm being hesitant because I'm looking at this sleeve, it's mental. So I'm like, man, cut it off. So Coach Brown was like, you heard him, cut it off. So cut it off, went right back out there, man. Didn't even think about it. No more.
Let me ask you. I'm just hit you with a few more questions. I want to ask you, who is the best power forward that you ever went up against in the pros, in your opinion? Who was the best that you went up against? Someone you could say, him right there. He was the best I went against. I'm interested in your answer.
I would say, like for a person like Charles Barkley, I always put Charles Barkley in a different category.
Why is that?
Because Charles Barkley probably 6'4.5", 6'5" at the most.
At the most,
playing power forward. You know what I'm saying? That's like a freak of nature. Like when I look at guys like Charles, he's a freak of nature. Michael Jordan being a 6'6", 6'7", 2 guard, you're a freak of nature. Magic Johnson being a 6'9" point, you're a freak of nature. You know what I'm saying? Because you're defying all the roles where everybody else think that you should be.
Gotcha.
So Charles was always, to me, just different, even just for his size. And when I look at like even Larry Johnson, Larry Johnson, he was the same way at that size. He couldn't handle the basketball as good as Charles, could. But being that size and what he was able to do at that position, I mean, Sean Kemp, love Sean Kemp, and Tim Duncan.
Okay,
you know what I'm saying, as well, just skilled.
Yeah,
I just love competing and playing against those guys, all the time.
Let me ask you this: could Dream Team 2 beating Dream Team
Man,
one?
why would you even ask me that question?
I just want to hear your answer. I know what you're going to say, but I want to hear your answer.
You really want to hear my answer?
But break down to me why. Break down to me why. Yes, break it down
because
for me.
we were better.
No. I want to break down like how, like who would like break it down for me.
We were better. First, all of us are in our prime anyway.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Shit, you know, Larry Bird landed on the floor. His back broke. He can't do nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So think about it. You want to get matchups? I got. So everybody was like, "Well, what about Mike?" I'm like, "Well, what about Mike?"
Right.
Who knocked Mike and them out the playoffs every year? Isaiah and Joe.
Okay.
Those were my guards.
So I got you.
I got Isaiah, Joe Dumars, Tim Hardaway, Mark Price, Reggie Miller. Those are my guards.
Okay.
No, Steve Smith. Those are my guards.
Okay.
And I got the eighth wonder of the world, which is Shaq.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. And I got Dominique at the 3.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So you can throw the power, whatever you want. You can put me there. You can put Sean Kemp there. You can put Lonzo Mourning there.
Yeah.
You can put Larry Johnson there.
Yeah. You had a crew.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you had a crew.
Come on, man.
You had a crew.
Man, I would love for that game to happen.
Yeah. That would have been special.
Yeah. And one of the best times of my life, though, you know, to be on a team, you know, like that with all of your peers, you know, and again, people don't understand that neither. Like, me and you can sit and talk all night.
Right.
Not just about basketball, but just about life. Because you know what?
Yeah.
We've been through it.
Yep, you're right.
We've been through the same ups and downs. And a lot of people can't relate to that because they've never been through that. So I'm on the bus rides and plane rides with all of my peers, and we're sharing stories about our lives, not basketball.
But
all this other nonsense and stress and stuff that we going through, dealing with friends, dealing with families, dealing with agents, you know? Yeah. It's like, man, we just want to hoop. That's what's all. We just want to play basketball and have fun, talk shit. You know, and compete.
That's what's up. What's up.
Y'all make it difficult, you know, and complicated. We don't.
Yeah.
You
know, one thing I wanted to always ask you was how you and Kenny Anderson got so tight and how y'all vibe. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, you know, it was like, you know, y'all were both, you know, stars, bigger than life, everything like that. And you hear so many times in comparison to the game today, where you have different stars that have trouble getting along on the court, have trouble, but y'all just clicked.
I've never, on all the teams, you know, that I've been on, I've never had none but the highest respect and admiration for my teammates.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? Like, of course, we get into our arguments on, you know, in the locker room or on the basketball court, but that's just the competitive nature in us trying to win. It's no, you know, like it doesn't never carry over.
Right. Okay.
You know what I'm saying? So even with Kenny, it's so crazy. I took Kenny out on his trip to Syracuse.
Yeah, he told me that. He told me he wanted to come to Syracuse, but I think it was his mother or somebody wanted him to go to, but he wanted to go to. I was like, oh my gosh, if he would have came to Syracuse,
trip to Syracuse, and
good Lord,
yeah, he did, yeah. Oh, we had a ball.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. So it's the draft. And this is the politics side of it too, what people don't know or don't understand in sports, right? So draft come up, they're asking me, you know, I'm sitting in a room with some of the owners. Mind you, we had 7 owners.
Okay, yeah, I do remember.
That's
had a whole big group.
Yeah,
I remember that.
Jersey.
Yeah,
and Willis Reed was our GM at the time, so it's like, well, Jerry, what do you think, you know, about these guys coming out? So I'm like, okay, Mookie Blaylock was our point guard, which was phenomenal. So I'm like, if we're looking for a 2, now mind you, Kenny ain't even coming up in the conversation.
Okay.
He's like, well, we're looking for a 2. I said, let's take Steve Smith.
Okay.
Who I've been knowing all my life.
Oh, right.
I said, we looking at the 3, which we had Chris Morris at the 3 as
Okay.
well. I said, let's take Billy Owens.
Ah.
So I'm sitting there like, either way around the table, I'm not going to lose.
Right.
I'm going to be with my guys, and we're going to keep this thing going.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So draft night, I'm sitting in the room with the guys, and boom, Nets select Kenny Anderson.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, what? Nobody said nothing to me about it. And matter of fact, I'm in Jersey. I'm at the draft because Billy is getting drafted, Steve Smith is getting drafted, and Doug Smith, who played in Missouri, who's from Detroit, is getting drafted. So I went to the draft. So I'm in New York City. So they called me. It's like, hey, we're going to have a celebration party, for Kenny. Can you come and introduce him? So I'm mad.
Interesting.
Okay, yeah. I jump in the car, still go over to, our facility for the party and everything. So I introduced Kenny. I mean, as soon as I introduced him, we dapped each other. I jumped back in the car, went back to New York.
Okay.
So I come back to New York in the summertime. I don't know, because I hung out with Ed Lover and Dr. Dre, all these guys, Kid Play. Like I hung out with all these guys.
Okay.
So one of them called me, was like, yo, it's a concert at Westbury out in Long Island, man. You need to come back for the concert. I'm like, who at the concert? It was like Salt and Pepper, Houdini, Run DMC, everybody.
Everybody, right.
So I'm like, okay. I get on the plane, I come back. So Saturday we go out, to the venue. So I'm in the back, and I see Rod Strickland.
Okay.
So I'm like, Strick, what up? You know what I'm saying? So we talking stuff. So I asked him where was Salt and Pepper, Spinnerella and them. They was like, no, they all down there. He was like, your boy down there? I said, who? He was like, Kenny. I said, Kenny who? He was like, Kenny Anderson. I said, oh, okay.
He said, Kenny who?
Because, I haven't seen him since I left.
Yeah.
So when I'm coming down the hallway, he comes out the room. He's coming up the hallway. He snatches me in the room. Yo, D, come here. Let me talk to you. So I'm like, yo, what up? Yo, man, I heard you ain't want me at the draft.
Oh, that's how he came at you?
Yeah, he like, I heard you ain't want to pick me at the draft. And I'm like, nah, I didn't.
Just real talk, huh?
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't. I said, because your name never even came up, bro.
Yeah.
In the draft. They were talking about a 2-guard and a small forward.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, yo, they ain't tell me that, whatever. I said, come on, Kenny, man. All right, man, you've been doing each other. I took you out on your visit.
Right.
And right off the bat, from that day forward, man, we was thick as thieves. And then the frustrating part, just what you talking about with Benny. Yeah. Kenny gets there, Bill Fitch, I don't play rookies. So imagine, here it is, this kid, New York City's finest.
Yeah.
Georgia, put Georgia Tech, 3, what was they, Lethal Weapon 3?
Yeah.
And he's not even getting a chance to play. Playing scrub time.
Yeah.
So, again, body language and your demeanor is everything. You see that. You feel that. You feel for your teammate. Because I'm like, yo, this guy need to be on the floor too. Like, he going to help us win. So I saw him go through all his struggles, his rookie season. And I just try to always just keep him, motivated, all the time. So one of my best friends to this day, me and Kenny still talk all the time, man. He's at Fisk right now down in Tennessee. And it's so crazy. My cousin them used to go to Fisk. And I was telling him about it, man. I used to go to Fisk. I'm like, man, you don't know about going. I'm like, bro, I used to stop at Fisk all the time. I said, TSU, right up the street, because my boy Carlos Rogers from Detroit went to TSU. Yeah, man. So, again, man, that basketball, man, it's amazing.
It is.
The friendships, the relationships that we have through the sport, and being able to know a person, 30 years, man, just from playing with a basketball. Yeah. That's what I try to stress with kids now. I said, man, think about the relationships, traveling, meeting people.
Right.
becoming friends with people through basketball.
Through basketball. Yep.
Like it'll take you around the world if you let it, man.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah. So that's my dude, man. I love Kenny. You know what I'm saying? To this day, bro. Always, talk to him. He call me, check on me. I call, check on him.
Yeah, that's what's up, man. That's what's up, man. Hey, one last question for you. Do people always ask you, like, you have some inside information? Because I get this all the time. If I know when Coach Boeheim is going to retire. And I'm like, why do you think I know? I don't know. Yeah, I'm waiting for him to announce it just like y'all. I have no idea. Yeah, do people ask you that?
20 years ago.
I'm like, I have no idea. He's gonna retire when he's getting ready to retire. Man. That's what's gonna happen. That's all I got for you.
All the time. It's gonna happen when it's gonna happen. Coaches at what, 77? He's like the last Mohican. He is. And I meant to call him and tell him, say, hey man, this Mike Krzyzewski last go around, man. you like the last Mohican. What you waiting on? What more can you do? I think that it keeps him young. A kid keeps him engaged around the game of basketball.
Right.
But I mean, I haven't heard him say it. I don't know how many times. I never forget when Hawk was there. Me and Hawk was talking, and I didn't even realize. I said, man, we were sitting there talking. I said, damn, Hawk, you been sitting there for 20 years?
Yeah, man. I mean, that was kind of tough though when he named Hop the successor and then didn't retire. I was like, come on, coach, that's kind of tough. Why you naming the successor then? You know what I mean? You didn't have to do that. Yeah.
Well, I don't know when he's going to, man, but whenever it is, hey man, you got to pass the torch.
Yeah.
And that's when it's going to get real interesting.
Real interesting to see who is the successor.
It's going to get real interesting because you got to understand this too, Etan, that we've been blessed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even like you talking about Kenny, the coach there and now, they don't have no relationship with those coaches.
Oh, got you. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's true.
We've been blessed to have coach in our lives all this time and still be able to have these conversations, you know what I'm saying, with him and go up there and go to practice and he gives us the floor.
You're right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
you're right.
Like we've been blessed to have that.
Like I told you,
a lot of these other guys,
they don't have it.
No relations with their university or their schools or whatever have you, and that's sad.
Yeah,
because they helped build it. Yeah. You think about that even with our football team right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Coach Beavers don't have no relationship with none of the football alumni.
Mm-hmm.
What is the problem? Yeah. You want to do everything your way?
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. I'm not trying to interfere with that, coach, but hey, man, I got all these guys who help put us on the map.
Yeah.
That wants to be a part. You know what I'm saying? That want to come in and tell the stories that you're not going to tell. About school, about being a part of this university. Like I see it now. I tell them all the time, man, y'all don't respect the S, man. Like that S don't mean nothing to you guys on y'all chest no more.
Right.
It's just there. It's like no pride to that. When we were in school and coming up, man, we took pride in putting that Syracuse uniform because we knew what it represented and who it represented.
Right.
Anytime we'd be losing a game and I can go in the locker room and cuss everybody out in the locker room like, hey, man.
Right.
What's wrong with y'all?
Right.
Okay, don't win and see what happens when we come back in this locker room.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me
have that anymore, E, and that's sad.
Let me ask you this: if you had to have a list, like maybe 3 or 4 people who you would think of as being good successors for Coach Boeheim, like who would they be?
Interesting.
Yeah. It's a good question, right?
Yeah. Because you got guys that are there.
Mm-hmm.
Would you bring Hop back?
Mm-hmm. Good question.
Being politically correct, okay. You could probably take Adrian and give him half a coach's salary and be satisfied.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah. And try and see what goes, from there. Rick Pitino's up the street.
Rick Pitino? Rick Pitino.
Start at Syracuse, bro. That's all I'm saying.
Man,
I'm
what's the next option? What's the next option? Rick Pitino.
I'm talking orange.
All right.
I'm trying to keep it orange.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, one thing you can't say about him, you can't say he can't coach.
Okay.
Can't say he can't coach. Regardless of whatever you think about him, the man can coach.
Rick Pitino wouldn't be my pick. That's what I'm saying. He wouldn't be my. But I hear what you say. I respect your opinion.
No. He wouldn't be
my pick.
What I thought.
No, I got you. I agree.
You asked me what I thought.
No, I got you.
So I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm just trying to keep it orange.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Period. Because like again, I can't really see anybody else in that position.
Right.
That's not us.
Oh no, it'd have to be us.
That's
what
I'm saying.
Somebody else. No, that's not even the question.
Who is that? Who is that person?
Like what you said, Hop, Red. You know what I mean?
You know what I mean? Like who's actually can step in? And again, we gotta recruit, man. We don't recruit no more.
Yeah.
That's our problem.
Well, I think this is a different time period where, I mean, you saw a lot of guys transfer out because they knew who was going to be, playing most of the minutes. So you had guys that, I mean, when do you see people who are getting minutes, like starters, leave? You know what I mean? Like it was a little bit different, time period right now. I think the recruiting.
You know what that is to me? You scared to compete.
I don't know, DC.
Yeah, no, man.
Or they see the writing on the wall, or they see the writing on the wall regardless.
Okay, well, whatever the writing is on the wall. Am I being selfish? Is it just all about me? Because if that's the case, then if I'm a Benny Williams, I'd have been gone.
I mean, he ain't gonna leave in the middle of the season, but you know what I mean.
I've been gone from the beginning. If it's a writing on the wall, hey, I'm top 30, coach.
Right.
Ain't nobody on our
You're right. Yeah.
Top nothing.
Top nothing. Yeah, you're right. I can't fight that.
I can see if I'm the sixth man.
Yeah.
No. Shit. I'm the 11th, 12th man.
Right, I got you.
I'm out of here.
Yeah. Nah, you got it. Hey, we got a lot of love for Cuse. We always gonna have a lot of love for
I'll see you later. So man, all right, bro. One love, man.
Definitely. All right, peace.